Hot 91, the soul of VA. I'm Alana Mercedes, and it is 12 p.m. on a Wednesday, so you already know what time it is. It is time for Club Creative Hour, and I'm super excited about our guest today. We're sitting down with someone who has been a driving force behind the heartbeat of Downtown Norfolk's creative and entrepreneurial scene. Careyann Weinberg is the Director of Economic Vitality for the Downtown Norfolk Council, where she's leading initiatives that support small businesses, spark innovation, and build community. Now, she's also been at the forefront of Selden Market, one of the country's first retail incubators, where she's helped countless local entrepreneurs bring their visions to life. So with all of the years of experience weaving together creativity, community, and growth in the economy, Careyann's work shows us how storytelling, culture, and business collide to transform a city. So again, I'm super excited to dive into her journey, her vision for Norfolk, and the role that creativity plays in shaping both her work and her identity. So, Careyann, welcome to Club Creative.
Hello. Well, thank you so much for having me, Alana.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited to have you here. Like I said, this is a cool opportunity to not only learn more about what you do, but kind of who the person is behind who does the doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to start off, I do want to kind of get into how you would describe yourself outside of your title. Like, what makes Careyann so interested in what you do?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Let's see. I just my whole life have kind of sat in this like weird area where I really care about community and the world around me and what's going on, and know that often in order to make change, you kind of have to be a part of that. But at the same time, love arts, culture, music, and as I got older, I kind of like found my place in where those things mesh, and they come together a lot more often than I think people think they do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I stand. I get to help push a lot of initiatives for things that I believe in, that I think the community and culture believe in, but also sit in some rooms with some great people, from super interesting people to super powerful people, and that's really fun to do.
Okay, that's fun.
Yeah,
I would be a little intimidated.
It's intimidating, but it's fun to do that.
Yes.
Sit in all the rooms.
I can see that for sure. It's an opportunity, I think, for sure. Now, you said that your interests kind of all came together into what you do now, which is really cool because a lot of people have trouble finding that sweet spot between like purpose and actual interests. So what kind of geared you towards that in your life? Like, what was your upbringing life that made you so interested in the creative art space?
Yeah. I don't quite know. I guess my mom and my dad were like, they weren't like super crazy artists or anything, but like my mom made sure that like we would go to art museums once in a while and that we were around culture. My dad was insanely into music, played music all the time. He also was like secret artist. Like as he got older, he really got into that.
Wow.
So that was like always kind of around, and I just gravitated to that. My little sister went to art school.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm like, it was just kind of always around and something I was into, but I don't think of myself as an artist. So it was kind of always just like this place where like I wanted to surround myself with it and be around it, but I didn't know where I fit in. And I kind of struggled with that for years. And then I just kind of like happenstance fell into it. I was out of college, was working at Starbucks. And this group of guys would come in all the time, and they were from a nearby office building. And I was so intrigued by them. And they were like, we do like graphic design and like art stuff. And like, they couldn't explain to me at the time exactly what they were doing, but it was Grow. And so Grow is a digital ad agency in downtown. They are kind of, Drew is the owner of Grow, Drew Ungvarsky, and he's the owner and driving force between Assembly and lots of things that we have in downtown. So they ended up taking a chance on me for a job, and part of what Drew does is he really cares about the culture and making sure that Norfolk is as awesome as it can be, so that we can keep up with, recruiting talent from across the country. And so I just happened to kind of be put on a bunch of projects that were community based. And then that like little by little just led into lots of lots of different opportunities, meeting lots of different people, and yeah. So
that's so cool. And Loki, we have a very similar background as far as for a long time. I think you're a creative. I consider you one. But I felt the same way. It's like, I don't really know how I'm a creative or how I fit into the space.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is kind of acting as a foundation for creatives, you know?
Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of need for that. And there are a lot of opportunities for that. And people don't realize that, you know? So, and, you know, there's creativity in everything.
Absolutely. Exactly. And that's something that I had to realize. Like, the fact that you do what you do, I feel like is a form of creative expression. It's just not what people would expect as far as like, oh, I make paintings or I rap or I sing, you know, but it's still a form of creativity for sure.
It's a lot harder to explain.
Yes, I get it though, because like I said, I literally have felt the same way for a long time. Now, I definitely had no idea though that you were a journalism girly too, like with your degree coming from the University of Kansas. No?
That's not me. No. What
was your background in?
It's just as weird.
I'm actually screaming. Okay, go.
I went to, I graduated from Virginia Wesleyan. Which
okay.
Baton now, I guess.
Yeah, I saw they were changing the name, but I'm like, what caused that?
That's what
Interesting
I'm like,
background.
wait, what's my college now? Okay, so anyways, I graduated from Virginia Wesleyan with a biology degree.
Biology? Okay,
Yeah.
that is random when it comes to what you're doing now, but go ahead.
I just, I went to school in Asheville, like out of high school. And I took a bunch of classes and like didn't know what I changed my major a few different times. And whenever I ended up moving here and went to Wesleyan, I was like, what did I take that interested me?
Mm-hmm.
And there was like an environmental science and biology course that I took in Asheville, and I loved it. And I was just like playing in water and like with bugs and leaves and like just being out in nature and doing weird stuff. And I just decided, I was like, well, then maybe I'll change my degree to biology.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to do like environmental research and like be out on boats and collect water samples. And I have a published paper in that. I don't
really.
Like,
okay,
yeah,
so you were actually doing it though.
I was doing it like in college, but then when I got out of college, the only jobs were like minimum wage. I was making like double that at Starbucks, and so I just never. You have to have a master's or a doctorate, and I didn't want to go back to school. And then I just kind of found my way on my own. And so what I do think, while that degree is kind of irrelevant to what I do, the big thing that it did give me is like lots of research skills, like
which is important.
Yes. And so I'm like, I love research, I love data, I love looking at all of that and really digging into it, and I use that stuff on the day to day.
Absolutely. Okay, so it still worked out.
Yeah.
You know, it definitely brought you to where you're supposed to be then. Yeah. And I love your involvement also in the beginnings of the Neon District. So I didn't, for some reason, realize just how new the Neon District is, being only like
10 years.
12 or 10 years old.
Well, it is kind of, officially 12.
Okay, because I wanted to talk about your role in creating the Alchemy Norfolk, because that's so cool to me. I know that your roots in the community kind of run deep with that, because that was one of the like beginnings buildings or communities of the Norfolk Creative Arts District. So tell me a little bit about your involvement in that, like what led to the beginning of being a part of something so cool like Alchemy Norfolk.
Well, I was involved with Grow, and we there was a nonprofit that also stemmed from kind of that same group of people and everything, that was Revision Norfolk.
Yes.
And we would choose different initiatives, and it was a bunch of doers. At the time, we were all in like our 20s and just pumped, and you know, getting to start to sit in rooms with important people. And we were like, how can we help push these initiatives that we're excited about? Now we're all a lot older, and so,
still doing it though.
And we we're all still doing it. In fact, we're all doing it for our jobs now. It's not just, just
like a fun little, I wanted to,
Yeah, we're all really doing it. With that, one of the initiatives that we worked on was the forming of the Arts District. So Jesse Scatia, Hannah Serrano from Alt Daily, which was like alt journalism back in the day, they helped start writing a white paper, and then we all started helping kind of push this white paper out about changing that area north of Brambleton, but still part of downtown. That really just was kind of a forgotten area. It wasn't wasn't even like an area that there was a lot of activity going on and people
You
were
would
coming
never
in.
guess now.
It was just boarded up buildings. It was, you know what I mean? It was just like a dilapidated buildings. They're all torn down now.
Wow.
Or have been repurposed. And anyways, so then that got designated a arts district in 2013, an official arts district, and we got to be part of that. But my partner at the time and I started Alchemy, which was started as a pop-up during it's called Better Black, and as an organization that came in and kind of helped you transform for a weekend a different area. Like they kind of peel back the rules. They work alongside the city, like different municipalities, pull back rules and let you kind of like test ideas for a weekend. So we did that, and we did it in a big old furniture store, and we had pop-ups, we had bands, we had like 30 or 40 different artists.
That's insane.
We had
wow.
skateboarding in the back. That was Sonny and Gabe performed. I'm trying to think who else performed. We had all these performers. We had all this stuff, and it was just such a vibe. And we were like, we don't want this to end. And so we ended up leasing the space. Like we never moved out of that pop-up. We leased the space. We were there for years. We had artist studios. We had a lot of people that, like, Masego used to come practice in there and perform.
Crazy.
Drum used to come practice in there and perform. We had a bunch of other bands. Like, we had a half pipe in the back. It was like everybody's woodworking. It was just kind of
so many different sectors, like so many different things to do, but all having to do with like that, again, harboring the creative community here. Yeah. That's so cool. It's like you guys were housing them.
Yeah. So like, and shout out to my old partner Charles from Alchemy, and yeah, he is a brilliant creative. So we were really able to build something fun back then.
Yeah,
and awesome,
I see.
That then like has carried on and opened up doors in other ways.
I was gonna say, like, how did the community respond to having that new cool place where they can like come and, I don't know, just grow their creative skills and such? Like being able to have that in a place that was once kind of like boarded up and nothing happening. Like, how did the community respond?
It was very welcoming. Like a couple of the neighbors, like the old businesses who had been there, were kind of like, what's going on? But even after a while, they kind of embraced it. Mm-hmm. We made sure we were cleaning up the neighborhood as we, you know what I mean? As we were like in it. Out sweeping things, picking up trash, doing whatever to like really help be part of what was going on down there. And I think for the first time in a long time, the creative community felt like they had a place where they could be weird and like,
and it was
not
welcome,
be judged, and it was welcome, and it was like you were just meeting all different people. Like, I mean, I have like videos, and it's literally like a jazz band performing with like stand-up basses and stuff, and then like drum rapping in another corner, and people skateboarding around, and then like a diorama being built, and then like I don't even know. It was just, and that was like, that would all be happening at one time. You would look around and be like, this is crazy. And I think so it was just like a place where like, I don't know, the creative weirdos could kind of like let loose and be together and like feel like it was like allowed for, you know what I mean? Like this is being built for me. And then we started having other businesses and stuff started popping up around us. We had Studio Collab right next to us, which was a bunch of other creatives and artists who had actually been there before us, but it was kind of hidden. A lot of the folks from the WPA architecture firm and stuff were like had space in there. They were building like crazy things. We had the Parlor come online.
The Parlor. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Actually. Really? Not that one.
Oh my gosh, there's like some videos that are like filmed in there and stuff.
Okay.
I'll show you stuff. But the Parlor was kind of in the block where the work release.
Okay, and again, another thing I never got to experience, work release. But so you guys all had to, or something to do with that too, like work release.
Yes, yeah. So in 2014, I think it was, the Rudders had purchased the old Texaco building, which was a prominent, beautiful building down there, and they didn't quite know what to do with it, and they called on me and Charles to help think of a vision for it. And we called it like, because it's the old Texaco building, we called it like Texaco Talk It Out or something like that.
I like it. It's catchy.
We invited like 50 creatives from the area because we had a big space. We invited everybody in, and we were like, what do you guys like? What's missing from the creative community? What do you want? And we kind of took a bunch of those things, and then like the Rudders have really great connections. They have the Rudder Family Art Foundation. They have great connections to some amazing art and curators and things. So we were able to fill the work-related space with like crazy killer art, and then be able to bring in people from all over the community to like look at that art and experience it in a different way. You weren't just like in a boring art gallery. Like, you got to really be a part of, like, you were partying around it. And we were doing like people like Sunny and Gabe again. Like,
they must have been staples though.
They were
like,
around.
like
they were around
yeah.
a lot, but like playing with like the orchestra, and we have the opera out, and then it would be like, I don't know, like would have like indie performer like bands come in, like big one, like some big bands come in, and then we would have DJs. I mean, it was just like literally different all the time. Drawing groups. It was the same kind of thing as the Alchemy, but like way more elevated and way more of a space that it was really for the public to come in and kind of be able to enjoy interacting with those creatives. You know?
Yes, absolutely. Like a whole creative hub.
Yeah.
A whole creative hub.
And it was so wild, like the demographics that would come in. It was everyone.
Like all ages,
all ages.
That's so cool.
All like income levels, all races. Like, I don't know. It was a wild time. It was fun, and it was really special. And there's a lot of people that look back and they're like, that was like a time that I can't, can't get back.
I truly.
And it's not to be like, though I know that those things have happened at other times in the past. As I get older, I see whenever the older folks that were older than me used to be like, we've done this before.
Yeah. Yeah, like I understand. And since you guys were there when that was happening in the beginning, do you feel that way about any of the stuff happening now? Like, okay, there's nothing new under the sun. Like, we've been here before.
Sometimes it will feel like that. You're like, oh, you don't know. But like, that's the beauty of it, is like they are making their own, like the kids are making their own thing. It's like everything evolves. Everything comes from something else, Nothing is new. We're in a world with what, like 8 billion people or something?
Exactly.
Right?
So everything's been done at least once.
And we have access to each other's stuff, like in some crazy degree now. Like everyone is, been done before, but it's how you execute it, what makes it special, the people that you bring out, the vibe that you give off.
Yeah, I think that's what matters at the end of the day. Whether it's been done or not, it's new to somebody.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that's been a very important part of the development of the Neon District, kind of just bringing a lot of different people together that otherwise maybe wouldn't have been in the same room or the same areas. And we're definitely going to dive deeper into that, because now I want to talk about your work in the Selden Market. So ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Careyann in the building for Club Creative on Hot 91, the soul of VA. Hot 91, the soul of VA. I'm Alana Mercedes, and for Club Creative Hour today, we are joined by Careyann, who is doing so many great things for the creative industry in Norfolk and beyond. But I definitely want to touch on the Selden Market, because I think it's so cool that it's one of the first of its kind in the nation. That is so cool to me. And then, like I said, it's become such a hub for entrepreneurs, creatives, small businesses alike here. So first off, what was it like brainstorming what that place would become in downtown Norfolk? And tell me about, like, I don't know, kind of the innovation that went into deciding it was going to be something for small businesses of just people from here.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I was kind of involved in maybe the precursors of Selden Market years before Selden became a thing.
Wow.
And then as Selden was starting to come online and they were really birthing the real idea of Selden, and like that I wasn't involved in, but then I was brought back in, and I was like, they were like, hey, we're working on this project. Would you be interested in helping lead it? But again, working with Drew and Grow years before, we at one point were expanding into the building beside us, and we didn't need all the space. So we said, what if we opened the space up as like, we put out an RFP and we said, restaurant, like open your dream restaurant here. And we gave a grant towards some of the build out. And we also gave super cheap rent for the first couple years, and put this RFP out, and that was what became Field Guide. So this is back in like 2013-ish. Yeah, everything is kind of, that was like a big pivotal year in a lot of things, I think, for downtown. But that Field Guide came online, and then that was kind of that precursor of like, okay, this worked. Like we had like almost 100 applications.
That's
for
crazy.
it.
Wow.
Yeah, and like that was kind of, it was very similar. So then Drew said, what if he got with Downtown Norfolk Council, who runs Selden Market. That's who I work for. That's my employer. Said, what if we reached out to other property owners in downtown and said, hey, we're gonna, like, would you help offer like discounted rent? We'll get grants to go towards some capital build outs for your spaces. And then again, RFP went out for 3 or 4 different spaces in downtown. This was the Vibrant Spaces program. And they had, again, like 100 applications. And most of them, like over 50% of them, were requesting the smallest space. And that's because it's a lot cheaper to rent a smaller space. You know, it's a lot less overhead and things you have to deal with. And so even back in the day, way back when I was working at Grow, we would like toss around like, what if we had like a little market and we had a bunch of small businesses all in one place, you know? And it was just kind of like yeah, what if we did that? So then it was like 5 years later, and it was like, okay, well now there was an explosion in the Selden Arcade. The Art Center was in there for years, and they kind of had to relocate while that was being renovated. And so that space was available. It was in the middle of our downtown. It was kind of already built out perfect. And we came in, we worked with the city. We partnered. So it was Grow, a partnership between Grow, Downtown Norfolk, and the city of Norfolk to offer a lower lease rate to Downtown Norfolk Council to help manage that space. And we kicked it off on a shoestring budget as a temporary project to help prove to the city that it was something viable. And it was supposed to last for 2 years. And in October, we hit 8 years.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Absolutely love that. I love how you guys created an opportunity for small businesses to thrive in a community together. You know, all within the same building. And I think, I don't know, I feel like it's made such a big dent in the community. Like all of the different kinds of events and activations that you host on top of these businesses being able to have their products in a real storefront and experience what it's like to have a brick and mortar. What would you, or how rather, would you describe the relationship between all of the businesses and the higher ups in the side of the Selden Market? What's the culture like in there for you guys?
So my favorite part about Selden is something that I didn't anticipate. I should have known, but I didn't anticipate the community that it would bring, like that small business community, that family. So we have for many, many years said the Selden fam, like, welcome to the Selden fam, like that's it. And like we do, I mean, the tenants on their own, like the businesses will pull together and cook meals for each other and all sit down and have community meals together.
Yes.
And they babysit each other's kids and they watch each other's shops, and they're able to, the bigger point of it is being able to like collaborate and talk about like what's going on. Like, did you have a rough month last month? Because it was really bad for me. Or like, hey, it was just bad for me. Well, like, what are you doing different? You know what I mean? Like, what lessons can you teach me? Like, do you have any marketing tips for me? What POS system are you using? Like, all of these just different random questions, and you're not in it alone. Like, these businesses have other people, not only other people, other businesses within the market, but then they have the resources. They can contact me, or hopefully we'll get a new GM in there soon. We're hiring a team right now. So they can contact the team at Selden or Downtown Norfolk Council and say, hey, I really need some extra help with X, Y, or Z. And we can help pair them with a mentor in the community that would donate some time to be able to talk to them, or discounted rates or whatever. We also partner with Norfolk State Innovation Corridor. We have a wonderful partnership with them. We've done 3 years now with them and the Small Business Development Center, where we offer a 8 to 12 week retail-based course for like mom and pop businesses. And we do that in the spring semester every year. So that'll be coming back around
very quickly at that.
Exactly. And so they get some business education. They have just that supportive community. I mean, there's, sometimes it's not all, think of your family,
Exactly. It's not always going to be flowers, rainbows, butterflies, but it goes into the growth and development of each. Would you say that the point or the goal of some of the businesses there, or the goal for you guys, would you say that it's to kind of grow these different businesses to leave and become something grander, or like like to cycle them out, you know?
Yeah, we're an incubator, you know? So we do have a few businesses that are mentor anchor businesses that are permanent businesses within the market. And so they're there for long term. So not everyone is an incubator.
Yeah.
We have to have people there that have a little bit of experience that can help like give some legs, some like validity to the rest.
Yes.
And help drive traffic for them. But then it is an incubator. So we're used to people rotating out. The businesses are typically there for, they sign 6-month leases at a time for up to 3 years. And then we kind of got to be like, okay,
all right, time to spread your wings and fly.
Exactly. So the goal is to ideally get them on a storefront in downtown, because we're Downtown Norfolk Council. But if they open anywhere in the region or even online, sometimes it's about learning your business. It's not always about that success of moving to the next thing. Sometimes the success is the failure, you know? Sometimes it is saying, oh, I tried this. I was able to do it at $450 a month for the last like 12 months, and instead of being locked into a 5-year lease at $5,000 a month, and now I gotta now I
figure
owe this
out
millionaire money forever, and you know what I mean, whatever. So like they have the ability to be, you know, really flexible with things and learn their business, and if they gotta fail, they fail gracefully.
Exactly, gracefully, and with resources. People are willing to help them kind of, you know, get back on their feet. I love that. I love the passion that you have talking about what it is you guys are kind of doing there. And just in general, like with what you've been involved with as the Creative Arts District is developing here. So I know that you said that you don't consider yourself a creative, but what parts of yourself do you found are being fed through having actually, you know, such a large contribution to this growing community? Like, what parts of yourself are feeling like, you know what, this is what it's all about. Like, this is why I'm here.
I mean, I absolutely love, like, I really, really love seeing a lot of people come together and things work and smiles on their faces, and like just bringing that joy that like comes from especially like the creative endeavors of things. That really hits home for me. I will be like stressed out working an event, crazy, like, and then like you get to the end of it and you're like, oh, that was worth
this is great.
Like, this is wonderful. Like you forget everything that was chaotic almost, you know, and you're like, look at this, like look how many people are smiling and excited and happy, and or businesses coming back and saying like, thank you so much, like if we didn't have Selden, I don't know where we would be. Like, that was our jumping off point. It was crazy when we were there, you know, like whatever, but now we're at this other thing. So it's very rewarding to watch that. And I don't consider myself a normal creative, but like I was just talking about this last night. But like I can't, like if you're like draw a picture, I'm gonna sit here and be like
stick figure.
Yeah, like look at something beside me and draw it because I can't come up with something you know what I mean, in my mind. But if you were to draw a picture and give it to me and be like, what do you think? I'd be like, oh, well, you should maybe change the color of this to this. Like art direction and things. I'm really good at like that, and production of stuff, so I can like see the big picture of things and kind of help like make it
better. Yeah, let's make it work.
And then make it better, you know? I can do that really well. And it's like, that's kind of, I wouldn't have maybe been able to tell you that 15 years ago, but that's where my niche is.
Yes, and that's needed. Like I was telling, I had Phil from Good Society here last week, and we were talking about how the community needs glue. Like everybody can't just be the creative making, you know, the music, the art. Somebody has to be there to mold it, to push it out, to make opportunities. And I feel like you are that that opportunity creator, if that makes sense. You know, don't be humble. It's okay. I mean, you can. It's true though. It's true, and it wouldn't be possible without people like yourself making these, you know, opportunities available in this community. So I think that's really cool. And I like, you know, your point about it can be really crazy sometimes, but after it's finished, it's like, oh, this was totally worth it. But does it ever get, I don't know, I would even call it overwhelming in a sense where it's like, I'm not really sure how we're pulling this off, but we're doing it.
Like everything?
Honestly, yes, it is. But how do you navigate those times? Like what keeps you going?
just knowing how many people are counting on me for things, and or how much joy something is gonna bring someone, how much joy I know I'm gonna get in the end of it. I like feeling of fulfillment at the end, and feeling like there's a purpose to what you do. And I think sometimes it's really easy in the creative world to feel like everyone's just doing this for just for fun. It's just fun things. But if we don't have that creative community, it's so important to our general economic development of our city, of our region, of everywhere. If you don't have cool, creative, fun, different ideas, new things happening, nobody wants to go there. You're every other city, you have to stand out. You have to be things have to be fun. They have to excite the younger demographics. They have to excite all demographics in different ways. And so I think that there's a major importance to that. And whenever you kind of step back and think of it as more than just I'm just having fun, you really think about how much money is being driven into our communities by the music and events and art and for everything, and it's very easy to think the opera, the symphony, the Virginia Arts Fest, all of those, they're major drivers. They have been for years. We are very lucky to, in our downtown, have these major arts institutions be a part of our downtown. But it's not just that. It's so much of that underground, those underdogs, those people that are doing it on the day-to-day and not necessarily getting that recognition. That's the places I know when I go to another city, that's where I'm trying to seek out. I'm where's that underground? The
underground, for sure. I definitely share that sentiment, because I feel for a long time I considered not just Norfolk, but that's where I grew up, but kind of Virginia in general, more on the boring side of things.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing it rapidly change in front of my eyes because of things like the Neon District, for instance, and just, the initiatives that you guys are doing. It's more attractive.
Yeah, there's all kinds, and there's so many people that are involved, and I think it's really a matter of everybody welcoming each other into it. Sometimes you feel you're not welcome, or and you have to find that niche in there, find that person, those people that are gonna make you feel there's a home. And I do think that the creative community can be easy, you can be weird. It's okay to be weird,
and nobody's really gonna think it's weird.
Yeah,
exactly. And it's almost the norm.
You are, the cooler.
Exactly,
The cooler
that's so true.
So.
But I love that about us. I love that about what we're building here. It's evident that it is a space that's growing rapidly, but it's also bringing so many people in and together. And I think that's so important, especially being the youth here, I feel will really benefit from having this developing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think we need to keep pushing for that, though. It's often the older folks making the decisions. And so they're making decisions thinking about what they like and what they want. And we have to always think about the fact that the future, what I mean? We're not it, it doesn't end here. It's behind us. And we gotta be able to zig and zag and open up opportunities for the younger folks that we didn't have, and you learn that more and more as you get older.
As you grow into it. So I love that. And I appreciate, like I said, with the work that you are here doing. So I think we're setting up the youth or the younger people up nice. I think we're setting it up nice.
I hope so.
Ladies and gents, stay tuned. We're in Club Creative Hour on Hot 91, the soul of VA. Hot 91, the soul of VA. I'm Alana Mercedes, and for Club Creative Hour today, we are joined by Careyann. And Careyann, like I said, you've had just so much to do with the development and creativeness of downtown Norfolk, regardless of whether or not we are. Because you're still making something. You're still making something tangible at the end of the day. So, like I said, you've had a lot to do with that. Now, beyond just, the business, the economics, all that you have going into the production, the back end, what do you specifically want to... What kind of work do you want, or kind of footprint rather, do you want to leave on the creative district of Norfolk? Or just in general? Because yes, it's you haven't necessarily considered yourself, an artist, but I think you are. I think you're painting a beautiful picture downtown. Does that make sense?
I guess.
You know, so like, what kind of footprint are you hoping to leave?
I just really want to make sure that they, like I said a little bit earlier, is that the generations like under me, like that are younger than me, like know that they can do things, that they have the ability and they know, and the resources and know how to like continue to make progress happen. I really hope, what I really, really want is to be able to work with the city itself to help make sure that we're supporting artists, creatives, entrepreneurs in those endeavors, because I don't want us to become a stale space. I think there's so much potential. Virginia is super special. I agree. Not necessarily from here, but it's home now. I moved to Norfolk in 2001, like right out of
definitely
like,
home
high
now.
School and stuff.
Yeah.
This is home now. I've lived here for a long time. We won't get into that many years, but you know, it is home, and I want to make sure that like it feels as special to other people as I think it does to those of us who are here. And so I want to make sure that we're opening up opportunities, that our processes and procedures and the things that we're pushing for within the city, like within the city itself, and those that are like city adjacent and outside of it, are really helping to push and be as supportive as possible to those communities. Because like I just think that that's what makes a city special. Like that's the heart, that's the soul, that's the, you know, you have to have that, and otherwise we're every city, you know. So I don't want us to lose that, and I want us to always be pushing, thinking about how we can help be more supportive to all of those communities.
Yes.
So that's what I really, really, really hope to do, is continue to push for that progress for the creative scene. And through that, bolster our economic development and vitality.
Yes.
In not just Norfolk, but in the region, you know. I think that that's super important. And that's
that about sums it up, you know. And I think that the economic development is almost, it's going to definitely happen anyway as a result of all of that, but it really does start with cultivating the people here, cultivating people's creativity, the arts, and really just making that like a forefront kind of thing. Like I said, when I was growing up, Norfolk didn't feel super special to me. But again, as I've seen it develop over the years, it's become more and more of like, I don't know, just this really big, important part of my life experience.
Where are you
from?
Know?
Technically Norfolk.
Okay.
Technically, like I always lived between Norfolk and Chesapeake my entire life, well, that won't get started on Chesapeake. I feel like they could use their own creative upbringing, but nonetheless, in Norfolk, that's kind of what I call home. So seeing it develop and turn into what it is now it's inspiring, and I think that you're well on your way to leaving that footprint. You've already started. Like everything that I didn't get to experience as far as like work release and everything like that, I think we're seeing it come back around in different ways now. Yep. So you're doing it. It's working. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Okay, I know it's a team effort, but you know, you're definitely, your part is felt in this. So I think it's great. And of course, with the Creative District, you guys always have events, always have things coming up. And I know the Neon Fest is technically around the corner. I know it's like in a couple of months, but it feels like it's around the corner. Soon. Exactly, soon. So what are you most excited about coming up that maybe the public might not know about yet or should know about?
Well, as you said, Neon Fest is coming up. Super exciting. That is October 16th and 17th, the Thursday and Friday. Thursday's all at the Chrysler, kind of centered around that. Friday, we block off the streets, have a block party. We have like almost 15 producers that we've brought in to help make all different spaces throughout the Neon District really special. So like DJ B and Kaja from Freshtopia will be there. The 757 Makerspace, Phil from Good Society is doing all of our vendors. There's so many artists, like NSU has space, ODU Arts has space. There's a whole lot going on.
You're bringing bringing the city out
please
for
come
sure.
down for that. That's going to be awesome. Obviously, this weekend in downtown is Cousins Fest, so we're excited for that. That is going to bring a whole lot of excitement and people into downtown. And then with Selden specifically, we just announced a few new tenants that are coming up this fall. We will be announcing more soon. We will also be announcing our grand reopening. We're not closed right now, but we've been under renovations for, it'll be actually under renovations for over a year. We've been working on the renovation project for 4 years now.
Wow. Oh, you guys hide it well, because if I walk inside, it's like I wouldn't really know that.
It's kind of crazy. So, like, we get to we're going to have a big, grand reopening celebration with all of our new businesses. We've really started to work even more in partnership with the city of Norfolk, especially the Economic Development Department. So I'm very excited to continue strengthening that partnership for Selden and for downtown as a whole. But stay tuned for all of those excitement, because then also we're hiring a full staff for Selden, including a whole team that's really dedicated to our events. So bringing in the community on the day-to-day. We haven't been doing events for a little while because of the renovations. So I can't wait, because this fall, like, stay tuned. We'll be gung-ho events into the holiday season, and, who knows where we go from there.
That's so exciting. Yeah. I love how much is available to do there, especially during this time of year. So that's exciting. I can't wait for the renovations to be finished so that we can see what it's going to look like and how you guys are going to, show the community what you've been working on. And if anybody wants to have more information on the Selden Market or how the Neon District, whatever the case may be, where should they go? What links do we have?
Yeah, so they can go to downtownnorfolk.org for anything that's downtown Norfolk related. You can also get to a bunch of the Selden stuff from there. Or seldenmarket.com. That's SELDEN market. Lots of E's. So you can check those out. But our social media for both of those are probably the best place to really go and get quick information and content. So it's Downtown 757 on Instagram and Selden Market on Instagram. Go on, check those out, see what's going on. My Instagram is CAR3YANN, and I post on my stories a lot, but post like a bunch of different stuff that's going on, whether in downtown or in the creative community or whatever. So anyways, those are kind of places that you can go check everything out.
Perfect. Well, hopefully we make use of these links, because there's always, like I said, something going on, something that you can be involved in. So ladies and gents, make sure you check out those links. And lastly, Careyann, before you go, what kind of advice would you give to a creative, or maybe someone who doesn't quite consider themselves a creative, in order to kind of figure out what it is that they should be, how would I say, not they should be interested in, but how they will be able to find themselves in a community where they might not consider themselves belonging?
I think that you have to just go talk to people. Like, you have to. And whenever somebody says to you, hey, like, will you send me an email about this? Or will you do, like, you have to do those things, because that gets you in the door to other conversations and other opportunities, and you'll find your space. I mean, like, for the most part, creatives aren't really trying to, like, keep everybody away from stuff. They want to be welcoming. So you just got to, like, make an effort and go talk. And I'm sure you can find someone who's be like, come on in. Come in.
I feel like you're one of those people.
Yeah.
So excellent. Well, thank you so much, Careyann, for your time today and for all of the information. Like I said, I truly appreciate everything that you're doing for this city, for this area, and of course for the economy. We love that too. But thank you for your creative input in making Norfolk just a more beautiful, fun, creative place. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Really
of course.
enjoyed it.
I love it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Have your mental health moment with Mercedes coming up on Hot 91, the soul of VA.